Hello, everyone, and welcome to False Nine Footy, where I talk all things football. So, I don't know about you all, but as a football fan, I like to keep an eye out on the top 5 or 6 leagues in Europe, with the Premier League being my favorite. But this season, in Liga Portugal, Sporting have been nothing short of spectacular. They're 7-0 and play some amazing football. They basically picked up where they left off from last season when they won the Portuguese league title. I just really like how the team is constructed. I mean, first and foremost, Victor Gyökeres is, in my opinion, the second best striker in world football, with Haaland obviously being first. Some might say, what about Kane, Lewandowski? You got guys like Osimhen, Vlahovic. I could understand Kane because he's been fantastic for Bayern. So if you want to say Kane is second, I can understand that. Lewandowski to a certain extent, but he's 36. He's kind of on the tail end of his career. So I can understand people that say, not really. He's still class, but in my opinion, currently Victor Gyökeres is better than him. But don't get me wrong. When Lewa was in his prime, he was an absolutely amazing striker, one of the best in the world for sure. It was him and like Suarez, pretty much. And then Osimhen and Vlahovic. For me, I like Osimhen. He's good, but both of them, in my opinion, aren't on Gyökeres' level. I'm a Juve fan. Vlahovic, he's good. He's sometimes, he's sometimes good, sometimes not so good. So, but yeah, he's not on Gyökeres' level, in my opinion, either. So obviously he's a big reason as to why Sporting are performing at such a high level right now. They have one of the few players that you can really rely on today in world football to score pretty much every game. We were spoiled with the Messi and Ronaldo era when you had two guys that pretty much scored every game. And nowadays it's like we're kind of in that era of, you don't really know who's going to score unless it's like Haaland. Or for me now, Gyökeres. Really, you don't really know who's going to score too often in a given game. So, but yeah, for me, Gyökeres is the second best striker in the world. If you want to debate that, I have no problem with Kane or Lewandowski, but he's been fantastic. And then you look at other players in the team, like they have Trincao, they have Giovanni Kenda, who's the up and comer. Like he's gonna be a good player in my opinion. They have really good defenders actually. They have Debast, they have Diomande. If you play FIFA, you know about Diomande because if you play career mode, he's one of those center backs that that you got to sign because he is just a beast. Like he's amazing. And Inacio as well. Inacio is huge. Inacio. Like I said, they have three amazing three amazing center backs right there, and obviously they're more versatile. They can play, fullback too if needed. But defensively they're solid, and then in the midfield they have Marita and they have Hjulmand, and both are pretty both are solid midfielders. And they also have Conrad Harder. I forgot when I mentioned Giovanni Kenda. I should also mention Harder. Again, another young up-and-comer prospect. Like he's going to be a good player too. So they just have a great balance in their team. And obviously they have a good manager. They have Ruben Amorim, who set them up perfectly. And again, I watched them a little bit last season. Because that's kind of when they started really putting everything together. They got Gyökeres. They had guys like Trincao. They have Marcus Edwards, who's injured now, but I'm telling you, he's one of my favorite players in this post-Cristiano, post-Messi era. Like, he's one of my favorite players. Again, I'm not sure if any of you have seen it, or maybe you have, I don't know. But like, he's had some Messi-esque type of runs, type of like dribbling sort of sequences where like, not many players in this era could do what Marcus Edwards can do, and I just wish, I don't know, what the issue is. Sometimes maybe it's inconsistency, but I mean, most players now are inconsistent, let's be honest. But Marcus Edwards has some real talent. He's one of those players that I wish, because I'm a Juve fan, I wish Juve would sign. He would be perfect as a right winger, but a lot of players could use a guy like Marcus Edwards or Trincao. Either I personally like Marcus Edwards a little bit more, but Trincao is also like, don't get me wrong, Trincao is class. Again, those two players, and you have you have Katamo. They just have a good balance of players, and so they play a good style of football. They have a guy that's going to put the ball in the back of the net in Gyökeres, so they're very well put together, and they're very well coached, which is why they're 7-0 right now in Liga Portuguesa. And in their first Champions League game this season, they faced off against Lille, and they beat them 2-0. And of course, Gyökeres scored, and they played exceptionally well. Like, they're like a machine this season. It's like, if you're betting on a team to win, it's basically them this year and Sporting. Or I meant to say Man City and Sporting. Like, those two teams dominant this year. To talk more about the Champions League, Sporting's next match is against PSV in Holland, and it's a winnable game for Sporting, but it's definitely going to be like a cagey affair. PSV are killing it in the Eredivisie. They're undefeated, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, they're undefeated, and they're playing well. But I just think, again, with Gyökeres and with the way Sporting are playing right now, I think they should win, but you never know. You never know with these things. It's going to be a close match for sure. But it's just interesting. Sporting's next couple games, they're very interesting. They have Sturm Graz, which they should beat. They have Man City, which is going to be a very fun match to watch because it's Gyökeres versus Haaland, battle of two world-class strikers, and then, a well-coached team versus, like two well-coached teams, basically. And obviously Man City have, more quality in their squad, but it'll be a very, very fun match to watch, that's for sure. And then right after that, they face Arsenal, and then Club Brugge, Leipzig, and Bologna. So they don't have an easy schedule by any means. I mean, they have like Sturm Graz is probably the easiest. Sturm Graz and Club Brugge. So those are the two games that I think, like, they should absolutely win. The others are going to be pretty competitive. So it'll be interesting to see what they do in the Champions League. But they're certainly set up well. They play good football. They have again, like I keep saying, a world-class striker. So I hope they do well because I like the way they play, and I like the players they have. So with all that being said, this year we'll see what Sporting do. They should, in my opinion, win the Portuguese league again, and the Champions League. I think they'll go, relatively far. We'll see what they do, but they're set up brilliantly. But it'll be interesting to see because, again, they have a plethora of great players, and it'll be interesting to see, in January or in next summer's transfer window, what happens to some of these players like Gyökeres, like Trincao, like maybe like Marcus Edwards, like Pedro Gonçalves, like maybe not Pedro Gonçalves, like he'll probably stay, like Conrad Harder, like Giovanni Kenda. It'll be interesting to see what happens to like Diomande, like their center backs. It'll be interesting to see what happens because, like, if you take Gyökeres and you put him on Arsenal, like they are for me up there with, like, that really would be a title race between that would make the title race between Arsenal and Man City really, really close, because those are two world-class strikers that have a great team around them. So that would, like, if I'm Arsenal in January or next summer, I'm doing whatever I can to get Gyökeres, because that would just put them over the top and really make the title race more competitive. But you also got guys like Marcus Edwards and Trincao, like two terrific wingers, playmakers. That again, I'm a Juventus fan. I hope we get Marcus Edwards, or I hope we get Trincao. I hope we get one of those guys. But you know, even Conrad Harder, again, great young player. It'll be interesting to see what happens next transfer window, the one in January or the one next summer. It'll be interesting. But yeah, guys. So that's my. But yeah, guys, that's my take on Sporting this year. They've been so impressive, and we'll see what happens. So for now, that's been me. It's been False Nine Footy, and see you next time.